Good morning. Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. I'm glad you could all join us this fine Wednesday morning. Although today the clouds seem to have come out and it says quite chilly, but hope everyone is doing well. So, for those who are new, my name is Mitch Kaniaru, and I'm a trader with Afriforex. I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now, do you know during these sessions, we as the Afriforex team, we identify what trading opportunities we would be looking at taking for the day, and we do share that information with you. As usual, not here alone. We have the Afriforex team. They are in the back office. So feel free to ask questions or queries in the chat box, and you will be able to get a response on that. So let's jump straight into it. So as usual, we'll start off with our watch list. So my screen is visible. So according to our watch list yesterday and today, so you can see yesterday our focus was looking for selling opportunities on the Swiss franc as well as the British pound. And we're looking to mix and match those two pairs with all the pairs on the buy side. But you can see today a number of pairs have moved to the sell side. So we will still be looking for selling opportunities on the Swiss franc as well as the British pound. However, we have the yen, the US dollar, as well as the euro, which have moved to the sell side. So today, our focus will be focusing on the pairs on the buy side. So you can see that's the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, as well as the Australian dollar. So what we'll do, we'll mix and match these pairs on the buy side with the pairs on the sell side. So we'll start off with the New Zealand dollar, move on to the Canadian dollar, then the Australian dollar. But before we do jump on to today's pairs, let's have a look at a few pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be looking at today. What happened, whether or not there were trades that could have worked out before we do end up focusing on today's pairs. So we'll start off here with the euro against the Swiss franc. Now, remember yesterday, our bias here was to actually look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that I had pointed out. Now, what we wanted to see was some buyers actually reacting within this particular buyers area, which you can see that's not what ended up happening. At 11 o'clock during the London market open, you can see once the price really did come down quite aggressive and confirmed that it was holding below, it did fall off our watch list. And you can see, even though later on, you can see this is during the US session around 4 and 5:30 or so, the market did manage to continue going up. But as you can see, if you compare how the sellers came down and the buyers came up, this is not necessarily a good pair to actually look for a buying opportunity. So as soon as it broke the downside, it really did fall off our watch list. Now, the next pair we did have was the US dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, our bias here yesterday was to look for buying opportunities, similar situation. Unfortunately, that did not work out for us. You can see, wanted to see whether or not the buyers were actually going to react within this particular support and resistance area. Nothing happened during the London session. We kept on holding within this area. But just before the US market opened, you can see around 3:45 to 4. That's when the price actually broke this area to the downside. Even though at 5:30, from 5:30, it has been trying to go to the upside. The fact that we seem to be holding below within this area, even you compare how the buyers are coming up, this is a pair that could potentially end up giving us issues. Remember, when pairs are both on the same side, if you have two pairs on the sell side or two pairs on the buy side, ideally they will be fighting with each other and you find the market actually ranging. So one is showing weakness, while the other is trying to show weakness. So you find that the market actually just stays the same and there's no clear direction. So unfortunately for us, this is a pair that's off our watch list for today. Now, the next pair we did have was the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. Now, remember, this currency pair yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. And you can see the three areas that I had pointed out to potentially look for sales. Now, initially, when we were discussing this market early in the morning, you can see the price was within this area. Did point out that, yes, we wanted the price all the way at the top, but did point out this blue support and resistance area. And you can even see, based on the illustration that I had pointed out, that we could find the price actually approaching this area. We could end up seeing some sort of reaction there. And you can see at 11 o'clock during the London market open, that's when you can see the price really did come to the downside. And you can see also later on, there was another trading opportunity. Because if you look at this market, as it came to the downside, you can see the market did end up giving us a pullback and giving us another selling opportunity to take it down lower. So this trade did work out nicely, but that was mainly only during the London session. Because you can see, if we do look at what happened once the US market came in fact, it was even slightly earlier. So from 4 o'clock or so, the price had come back in, was holding above this area, and you can see the price continue to go to the upside. So this mainly has something to do with the Japanese yen pairs that's showing us a lot of weakness. So that's the reason why it did work out nicely, but that's also the reason why we also point out, make sure you manage your trade within these problem areas. There's always no guarantee that the prices are always going to pass those areas. So just do make sure you do some sort of trade management. So Moving on to the next currency pair we did have the British pound against the US dollar. On this pair, our bias was to look for selling opportunities, and you can see the three areas that I had pointed out. Now, similar situation, wanted to see how well the market was going to react in this particular buyer's area. Had pointed out that there was a small buyer's area here, and if we were able to get the price breaching and holding below, we could have looked for a selling opportunity. Unfortunately, it would have been a bit difficult to give us that pullback all the way to the top, but you can see similar situation at 11 o'clock, with the price coming to the downside, showing us evidence is holding below, and you can see the price did manage to continue coming down lower. Now, even though the pullback did come in and wanted to see whether or not this pullback was going to be able to go down lower, unfortunately, that did not work out. So it seems this trade mainly worked out during the London session, but during the US session onwards, you can see that US dollar showing us a lot of weakness, and that's the reason why this is a pair that's off our watch list for today. Now, the next pair we did have was the British pound against the Japanese yen. Now, on this pair, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. You can see the three areas that I had pointed out. So during the London market open, you can see as the price came to the downside, you wanted to see whether or not it was going to actually confirm that the price was holding above this area, because you knew that there was a possibility that the price could come down. And you can see that exactly what happened 11 o'clock. So remember, we always point out these market opening times. So 11 o'clock is the London market open, 4 o'clock US market open, 5:30 the New York Stock Exchange open. I know we sound like a broken record mentioning these times all the time, but it is very important to be able to actually get some very nice trading opportunities. So you can see during the London market, we did get the price coming down lower. Fortunately, we could not break this area to the downside. As you can see, every time we're going down, we came straight back up. If we go down, we come straight back up. And you can see the price confirmed that we're holding above within this area at 5:30, and the yen weakness really did end up showing up. So unfortunately, trade worked out yesterday, but not for today. So the last pair we did have for review, and we did have yesterday, was the euro against the British pound. Ideally, we were looking for buying opportunities on this pair. Now, this one was a bit tricky. We did have some euro fundamentals yesterday that did end up bringing a bit of volatility, which you can see during the London market open. We did get the price coming down and showing us it was holding below. So at that point in time, no buying opportunity yet. You can see the price did spike quite aggressively all the way down within this area. But when it came back up, you can see it did manage to continue going all the way to the top. Now, obviously, it would have been a bit difficult to get your trading opportunity within this area, but you can see as the price broke this area to the upside and the pullback came in, showing us confirmation that it was holding above, you can see there was a nice buying opportunity, making sure to manage your trade within the seller's area at the top. Unfortunately, today, this pair is going to be off our watch list, and you can see already this market seems to be ranging because both the euro and the British pound are on the same side. So that's it for the review pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be looking at today. So before we do jump on to today's pairs, let's have a look at a few screenshots that we didn't manage to get before we do end up focusing on today's pairs. So we'll start off here with Bravin. Bravin, you did manage to grab multiple buying opportunities on silver. You know you love trading silver. Happy to see a screenshot. You did grab a very nice buying opportunity. The price really went up in your favor. We can see your stop loss already above your entry. I do end up hoping you are also managing some of your trades within this area, but very, very well done in this trade, Bravin. So also next, we did get Caroline Xini. We managed to grab a very nice buying opportunity on the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. You can see a very nice buy there where the buyers are. You can see the price already going up in your favor very nicely and your stop loss above your entry. So very, very good job on this trade. I know this was discussed with the snipers yesterday. I know a number of people did manage to get them in the group. So next, we do have another Caroline who here. You did manage to grab a very nice buying opportunity on the Australian dollar against Swiss franc. You can see the price has already started going up in your favor. I guess it was after the market had bounced within this particular area. But the price is going up. You can see your stop loss is still within your entry area, but that's okay. But I do end up hoping you did manage your trade well. So very, very good job in this trade, Caroline. So next, we did get George Chege. He did manage to grab a very nice buying opportunity on gold. You can see a very nice buy right there. The price going up very well in your favor. Good trade management. You can see your stop loss is within a very good area. I can see that you have definitely been listening to us where these are the buyers who have been pushing up. So you don't necessarily want to put your stop loss anywhere near here. You want to put it below, because remember, the price can still bounce off the buyers and still continue going up. So you want to give your trade enough space to move. So very, very well done on this trade, George. I can see the progress and keep up the great work that you're doing. So also next, we'll get John. I do know John, he does the webinars with me, part of the Afriforex team. This is the trade that we're discussing yesterday during the snipers group. So you can see the same Canadian dollar against Swiss franc. Very nice buy. The price did end up going up very nicely in your favor. You can see stop loss above your entry. So we do end up practicing what we preach. You can see this is the most recent high, and this is the buyer pushing, and you can see the stop loss is just below there. So just in case the market comes down within here, we still have an opportunity to take the price up higher. So very, very good job on this trade, John. Well done on this. So also next, we did get Mark Ngori. We did manage to grab a very nice selling opportunity on the Dow Jones. We did get a very, very nice selling opportunity within the sellers area right there at the top. The trade really did end up going down. I know we will end up having a look at it, but I hope you ended up trading or at least managing your trade as well. Because you can see the trade had already just started going. The stop loss, I guess, is still within the area that you had it. But I guess by this time, you can be able to manage. But I do know you know what you're doing. So very good job on that trade, Mark. Keep up the amazing work that you're doing. So that's it for all the people who did manage to send in the screenshots. I want to shout out to all of you guys. Remember, if you do manage to take any setups based on things we do share, feel free to send them in to us. They should be our contact details right there in the description. So let's start on today's pair. So we'll start off with the New Zealand dollar pairs. We need to match them with the pairs on the sell side before we move on to the Canadian dollar. Then we'll do the same thing with the Australian dollar. So starting off with the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, on this currency pair, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out yesterday. I just need to zoom this in a bit. So these are the areas that we did have yesterday, looking for buying opportunities. And we can see the illustration that I had pointed out, ideally where we could end up looking for a buying opportunity. So during the London session, the price ended up coming down quite aggressively, showing us it was holding above within this area, but the market wasn't necessarily just going to move at any time. You can see at 4 o'clock, that's when we started getting some momentum, but at 5:30, that's when it really did take off to the upside. And you can see a very nice probe right here. The price going back confirmed that it was actually holding above before we did see the price going to the upside. So today, the bias is still going to be looking for these buying opportunities. We'll pretty much be focusing on the same three areas, but you can see as well the fact that the illustration I had drawn yesterday, where we pointed out that since we were within a very major seller's area here, the fact that we've gotten the price breaking in this area to the upside and we seem to be holding above, there is a possibility we could end up getting a nice buying opportunity, especially if we do get some sort of probe or price action signal. Remember, probes do end up inciting very many people to start actually looking for sells. And if you see the buyers coming back in very aggressive, it could be a very nice buying opportunity. So do watch out for that. Even though we have these levels, also just watch out the fact that we did end up breaking this support and resistance area. Be aware that the price could end up still pulling back towards such an area before going to the upside. But overall, our bias here is still to look for the buying opportunities. Let's wait to see what kind of reaction we do get within this bias area. So moving on to the next currency pair, or at least the next New Zealand dollar pair that we do have. This is the British pound against the New Zealand dollar. Yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. So you can see the three areas that we had pointed out, we potentially look for sell. Seems yesterday there was no pullback that did end up coming in. You can see the price did manage to continue breaking this area to the downside. But once it did, you can see even based on the illustration that I had pointed out, once we do get the price going to the downside, we want a pullback to show us evidence that the price is actually holding below. And if you do look at the timing, that was just after the London market did end up opening, and that did give a very nice selling opportunity throughout the London session. But you can see from 5:30, that's when we actually started getting a small pullback. So the trade did work out quite nicely yesterday. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas to find our potential sells. You can see right now, we've gotten a pullback back to an area of interest, support and resistance area. So let's see how this market actually ends up reacting within this area. We do end up getting some sort of slowdown, some sort of probe or price action signal, especially if we see the buyers attempting to go up and we see the sellers really coming in aggressive. We do get the price showing us evidence it's holding below. We could end up finding a very nice selling opportunity here. But be aware, if this level doesn't hold, you find the price breaching and holding above here, we should be waiting for our selling opportunities higher up within the main sellers area all the way at the top. So hope that is clear as we move on to the next New Zealand dollar pair. Now, here we have the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, this is a brand new entry on our watch list, and here we will be looking for buying opportunities. You can see the yen weakness that's really coming in. But if you realize, right now we're within an area where there's sellers. So as usual, we always want to buy with buyers and sell with sellers. So since we're looking for buys, we're not going to jump in on any selling opportunity just because the price is within here. the price could end up reacting quite aggressive. So that's the reason why we always wait for one or two options when the price is within such an area. Either wait for the pullback to come in. If the pullback comes in, it will be much better for us. If we see some sort of probe or price action signal within here and it lines up within one of the market opening times, that ends up increasing our trading probability there. But if we do get the price continuing to go to the upside and we get the pullback showing us the price is holding above, then we should also be able to look for a buying opportunity then. So right now, we just need to be patient. Let's wait to see what ends up happening, whether a pullback comes in or we actually get the price breaching to the upside. So that's pretty clear cut as we move on to the next New Zealand dollar pair. So here we have the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. So in this kind of pair, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. I've identified three areas that are interest that could end up getting us some nice buying opportunities from. So we have these three areas right here. You can see right now, the price looks as if it has broken this major support and resistance area. You can see how many times it has tested this area, attempting to break it to the upside, but we have attempted, or at least finally been able to do that. So right now, we want to see what ends up happening within this particular area. You can still see the sellers are running. So what we want to see is some sort of buyers coming in. And you see the buyers are able to show themselves and the sellers do not do anything at that point in time. Could end up finding a very nice buying opportunity available for us, especially if we do end up getting probes. Probes really do end up giving us some nice trading opportunities. But also be aware, just because we're going to be targeting all the way at the top, you can see the fact that the market has reacted within this area where the price has actually pulled back down. Do make sure you do some sort of trade management there. You never know whether or not these sellers might actually give you more issues and it actually ends up coming down a bit lower. So do take note of that. But let's see what ends up happening on the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. So moving on to the next and last New Zealand dollar pair we do have. Here we have the euro against the New Zealand dollar, brand new entry on our watch list. And here we can clearly see the price has been coming down and we are looking for selling opportunities. So as you can clearly see, the fact is the price is so close within this buyer's area. What we need right now is a pullback to come in. So we can identify these two areas where pullbacks could potentially come back to. So we have this first support and resistance area. Could end up seeing some sort of slowdown of the buyers and some big boy sellers appearing. Could end up finding a nice selling opportunity. But if we don't see that, and we see the price breaking and holding above this area, be aware we could still see the price coming back all the way to the top right here before we're able to look for those selling opportunities. But overall, these will be the levels we will be looking at. So hope that's clear on all the New Zealand dollar pairs. As you can see, we'll mix and match the New Zealand dollar with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now, we're going to move on to the Canadian dollar pairs and do the same thing. But just one thing to note, guys, also, we do have a lot of fundamentals coming up for the British pound. Some CPI news. These are definitely going to bring in a lot of volatility on the British pound. And we also have some Euro PPI news. So at 10 o'clock, Frankfurt market open, we will end up expecting a lot of volatility. So let's see if we can end up finishing this session earlier before these news events come out to see whether or not anything is actually set up. So let's move on to the Canadian dollar pairs and mix and match them with the pairs on the sell side. So we'll start off with the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, on this currency pair, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. In fact, this is the trading opportunity that was taken during the session yesterday. And you can clearly see the trade has really gone up quite aggressive. I think it's still even giving more, almost a 1:7 risk to reward. So very, very well done to the snipers there. So yesterday, the trade worked out quite nicely. As you can see, we did point out the price was within an area where the sellers, so no buying opportunities then. And you can see that was at 11 o'clock where the price did manage to come down lower. Wanted to see whether or not we could end up seeing some sort of reaction within this area. And you can see the price did end up holding a bit within that location, but it did not take off because there was no big boy to actually push the market. And remember, the big boys come in when the sessions are actually opening. So that's why we keep on pointing out this market opening time. But you can see the price managed to continue coming down lower. We got back down to the main buyer's area, and you can see that was at exactly 4 o'clock. And then actually really took off was at 5:30 when the price really did start going to the upside. So this trade worked out quite nicely yesterday. And you can see the same illustration here where we did mention if the price breaks this area to the upside and we get a pullback and the price holds above, we can look for another buy. And you can see that's exactly what happened here when the price broke to the upside. We got a pullback, and that should have given us an opportunity to also look for a buying opportunity there. So today, buyers here is still going to be looking for buys. Right now, it seems that these big boys are attempting to break this area to the upside, but don't start chasing those buying opportunities now. Remember, we need a pullback, and we don't even know if this breach is actually real. What you could end up easily finding is that the market, rather than holding to the upside, it just comes back in and actually ends up giving us a pullback all the way till the support and resistance area before we do see the price going to the upside. This is what happens with a lot of traders, where they start entering the trade when it's so late, rather than waiting and being patient for the price to actually come to you. So right now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. If the price is able to go to the upside and we see the pullback coming in and it actually holds above, at that point in time, we can be able to look for buying opportunities there. But for right now, we've not gotten that confirmation, so we need to be patient to wait to see what happens. So hope that's clear on the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. Moving on to the next Canadian dollar pair. Here we have the British pound against the Canadian dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. We did have these three areas to potentially look for those sells. Now, you can see we're hoping to see the price actually giving us a bit of a pullback. Unfortunately, that did not happen. In fact, during that session, as we had yesterday, the price remained at that particular price until 11 o'clock. That's when it took off to the downside. Now, if you did miss that trading opportunity, you can clearly see once we did get the price breaking this area to the downside, we got a pullback showing us that the price was actually holding below, and you can see the price did continue to go to the downside. Now, if you did miss your trading opportunity, you can see at 11 o'clock, that's when the market started moving to the downside. If you did miss that opportunity, we do take note of what happened at 4 or where the price was at 4. You can see we just broke that level, we got another pullback, and that ended up giving us another opportunity to end up bringing this price down lower. So you can see the trade worked out both during the London session as well as the US session. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. But if you realize right now, we're within an area where they're buyers. So we do not want to jump in on any selling opportunities just yet until one of two things happens. Either we get confirmation that these buyers are not going to do anything, and we get the price breaching this area to the downside. And if you see the price holding below, we should be able to look for selling opportunities. Don't just wait to see some red candles and just start jumping in on sells as soon as the price is there. You can clearly see, even though the price came down, this right here was just approved, and this is the true support and resistance area. So we need to be patient as we're waiting for that pullback to come in. Now, if that doesn't happen and the buyers actually show up, then that's exactly what we would want to see. Hopefully, we can end up getting this price giving us some sort of pullback within this particular area for us to look for those selling opportunities. But as I mentioned, we have some British pound CPI news, so we could end up expecting a lot of volatility on this pair. You could easily even find this price spiking all the way back up to the top before it actually goes down. So do make sure you take note of that. So moving on to the next Canadian dollar pair we do have. Here we have the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen, brand new entry in our watch list. In this situation, our bias here is to look for those buying opportunities. So we can see the price is really going to the upside. As I mentioned, the yen is showing us a lot of weakness. And that's the reason why the price is going up quite aggressive. We do end up looking at the other yen pair we had a look at. You can see the New Zealand dollar against the yen. We can see that it is attempting to push to the upside. So we'll wait to see whether or not that correlation ends up lining up with all these pairs. So for now, the same story that has been pointed out with the British pound against the Canadian dollar, the fact that within a seller's area, we are not going to jump in on any buying opportunities. We need the price breaking to the upside and we get a pullback showing us evidence that the price is holding above for us to look for a buy, or we'll end up actually waiting for a proper pullback to come in. And if you see the price holding within this support and resistance area and it lines up within one of the market opening times, then there we'll definitely be looking for buying opportunities on the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. So hope that is clear as we move on to the next Canadian dollar pair we do have. Here we have the US dollar against the Canadian dollar, brand new entry in our watch list. It seems that the US dollar really did get a lot of weakness yesterday, as well as the Canadian dollar getting a lot of strength. But here our bias is going to be looking for these selling opportunities. But now you can notice a number of these Canadian dollar pairs seem to be within these major support and resistance areas, because repeating the same process, or at least the same thing all the time. Because right now, the fact that within a buyer's area and we're looking for sells, we need the price either breaching this area to the downside, holding below for us to look for selling opportunities, or these buyers could end up reacting, giving us more of a pullback within this support and resistance area before we're able to look for those selling opportunities. So due to the fact that the markets are about to open or within an area of interest, it will be interesting to see what ends up happening, whether or not the Canadian dollar strength really does continue, because we did have some CPI news yesterday, and that's what really did bring this price down, at least showing us a lot of strength on the Canadian dollar. So right now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. Nothing much for us to do. Let's wait for either a pullback or a breach to the downside. So moving on to the next and last Canadian dollar pair we do have. Here we have the euro against the Canadian dollar. Similar situation. This is a new entrant in our watch list. And our bias here is going to be looking for selling opportunities. So you can see this price is attempting to break this area to the downside. But remember, this is not very convincing. Most breakout traders end up losing money because they see the level has been broken. They start jumping in themselves without waiting for confirmation. And if you compare how these sellers are coming down, they don't necessarily look that strong. So for us, or at least for me, what I'll be waiting for is potentially to see some sort of pullback coming in. We will find that maybe if this price is not good enough, we could end up still getting the price coming back all the way till our main sellers area before we're able to look for the selling opportunities. I think what would make me more convinced about this, looking for a sell all the way down here, is if we actually get some strong sellers coming in. And on that pullback, that's when we'll be able to look for those selling opportunities on the euro against the Canadian dollar. So hope that game plan is clear. Let's wait to see what ends up happening on this pair, because remember, we do also have some euro fundamentals as well that are meant to be coming out at 10 o'clock. So that's in around 30 minutes or so. So do take note of that as well. So hope that's clear on all the euro pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched the euro with all the pairs on the sell side. So apologies for that. Mix and match the Canadian dollar with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now we're going to move on to the Australian dollar pairs and do the same thing. So we'll start off here with the Australian dollar against Swiss franc. Now on this pair, our bias yesterday was to look for buying opportunities. This is one of the trades I think, Caroline, here you did manage to end up grabbing. So you can see initially we're within an area where there are sellers early in the morning. So we did not want to jump in on buying opportunities then. And you can see what ended up happening. During the London market open, those sellers actually ended up reacting, bringing the price down lower to the area of interest that we did want to see. But we don't just necessarily want to jump in on any aggressive sellers market just because the price was there. We need to wait to see whether or not big boy buyers are actually going to show up. And you can see this whole time there were no big boy buyers until we realized this was around 4:45. So the US market just opened. And you can see a very nice probe that did end up happening within there. And at 5:30, that's when the price actually started taking off to the upside. So today, buyers here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So right now, based on where the price is at, you can see the three areas that we had pointed out. The fact that we're broken above this area, we still seem to be attempting to grind up to the upside. So let me just go quickly to the 1 hour time frame so you to take note of what we are seeing. So you can see the market was within this range, bouncing between this range. So the fact that we've broken the range to the upside, most likely we are expecting to pull back towards that same support and resistance area. So for us right now, what we'll be waiting for, ideally we would be watching out for the same areas to look for the buys, because the fact that the price has broken to the upside, we've seen many times ranges actually end up coming back down all the way to the bottom before actually going to the upside. So for right now, we'll still wait to see what ends up happening. But I think the game plan now would be waiting for potentially a pullback. Want to see how the market will react in this area. We do see some sort of probable price action signal, then that's why we'll end up looking for a buying opportunity. Now, we did point out this blue line right here. That was mainly because, especially if you do look on the higher time frame, there seems to be an area where sellers have reacted from before. So it has stopped the market within there. But I think if we get this price breaking to the upside, there could be a small potential buy, but do make sure you manage your trade within this next problem area. But for right now, I think for us, I think the best thing to do is to wait for those pullbacks to come in. So moving on to the next Australian dollar pair, we do have the British pound against the Australian dollar. Now, in this current pair, our bias here yesterday was to look for selling opportunities. You can see during the London market open, we looked as if we were attempting to break this area to the downside. We did not at that point in time. But you can see later on, once the price came down, it showed us evidence that the price was holding below. Now, at 11 o'clock, you can see the price attempted to come down, but the price came back up. So it seems like the London big boys did not have enough strength to actually push this price down low. But if you do take note of the time at 4 o'clock, that's when you can see the US big boys did have enough strength to actually push this price down lower, coming down and at least giving us a new low on this pair. So today, the bias here is going to still be looking for selling opportunities. So we have adjusted the level slightly. We will be focusing on these three areas to potentially look for ourselves. So we have the aggressive sellers all the way at the top. We have our problem area down here. We have our central area where even the sellers started pushing down from yesterday. So right now, the fact that we're getting a pullback, that's exactly what we want to see. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting this price coming back within this area, showing us evidence that the price is actually holding below this particular area for us to look for those selling opportunities. But be aware, if this level doesn't hold, we will be waiting to see this same story, but up within the next problem area at the top. So I hope that's clear on the British pound against the Australian dollar. So as we move on to the next Australian dollar pair, we have the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. You can clearly see the yen is showing us a lot of weakness. So this is a brand new entry on our watch list, and our bias here is to look for those buying opportunities. So right now, we do seem to be attempting to break this area to the upside. But remember, the level is not broken until we actually get confirmation where it actually retests. So many times, many breakout traders end up getting stopped out, or many young traders, they start trading there or jumping in on a trade, not realizing that it ends up just being a probe. So what we'll be waiting for is potentially getting the price to come back within this support and resistance area, potentially look for buying opportunity, because right now it would not be the best place to look for the buy. And especially if you're looking at the strength of the buyer, how did they start off? You can see those big green candles. Look at the next push. It was so high up, but now the candles started getting much smaller. Now look at the next push. It's not even that much higher, right? And now how they're pushing to the upside. You can definitely see they're slowing down. So you don't necessarily want to jump in on your buys with very weak buyers. Ideally, let's wait for some sellers to come in before we restart with the move to the upside. So moving on to the next Australian dollar pair we have the Australian dollar against the US dollar. Now on this kind of pair, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. So we have identified 3 areas of interest that this could end up coming up for. So we have the sellers area right there, and you can see these sellers have reacted. Hopefully we can end up getting this pullback coming in a bit deeper, because we want to see what kind of reaction we do end up getting within this support and resistance area right here. So we wait to see what ends up happening. We do end up getting some sort of probe or price action signal. You can see this is a major support and resistance area that was breached to the upside. So I'm hoping it does end up pulling back towards this location before we do end up getting the price going to the upside. But be aware, there's also the possibility it might not come back all the way down there. You can see there's some level right here, this particular high, and it seems that that's exactly where the market is holding. But obviously, for us, we want to incite a few more sellers before we look for those buys. But if we do end up missing this trade right there, I think the next option would be waiting for the price to actually break this area to the upside. And if we do get the price pulling back and holding above, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities there. So I hope that is clear on the Australian dollar against the US dollar. So moving on to the last of our currency pairs, which is the euro against the Australian dollar. Now, these are brand new entry in our watch list, and here we will be looking for selling opportunities on this pair. As you can see right now, we're so close towards the buyer's area. As you can see, the way the sellers did end up coming down, they've just been ranging right here. So what we need is actually a pullback to come in, potentially giving us higher highs and higher lows to see what kind of reaction we end up getting within that location. We do end up seeing some sort of probe or price action signal showing us evidence that the price is actually holding below within that area, then we should be able to look for selling opportunities. If this level doesn't hold, remember, we will still be looking for sell as long as we're holding below the red support and resistance area. If the price breaches and holds above this area, ideally this pair will follow our watch list. So hope that's clear on all the pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched all the pairs on the buy side with the pairs on the sell side. So right now we're going to have a look at the indices, then move on to gold and silver. So we'll start off with the NASDAQ, the NAS 100. So on this pair, our bias yesterday was to look for selling opportunities. You can see the sales did work out quite nicely. You can see the illustration that I had pointed out here. The price was holding above this support and resistance area. That's not what we wanted. We wanted the price to break this area to the downside, give us a pullback, show us confirmation it's holding below for us to look for sales. And you can see that's exactly what happened. As the price did manage to break this area to the downside, and you can see this was during the London market open at 11 o'clock. The pullback came in, showing us confirmation that the price is holding below. For those of you who like candlestick patterns, you can see there's a pin bar right there in the middle before the market did manage to continue going down. So this trade worked out during the London session, not all the way, but even if you left it or you look for another opportunity at 4 o'clock, you can see we did get another pullback. And at 4, that's when the price did manage to continue coming down all the way to the problem area that we had pointed out. It seems after that, the price has really come up quite aggressive, but we are still going to be looking for selling opportunities. Remember, with the NASDAQ, with the indices as well as gold and silver, we are purely technical. meaning we're just following how the market actually ends up moving. Meaning for us, right now, as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area, our bias is to look for selling opportunities. If we get the price breaking and holding above this red support and resistance area, at that point in time, we will actually switch our bias and be able to start looking for buying opportunities. I've seen this many times on the charts, so we can just go to the 1 hour time frame. You can see these are the main sellers who are pushing down. And remember, most of the time, these sellers, it was very obvious to everyone when this price was all the way down here. Now, the main thing that they want to do, they don't want to make it obvious to everyone. If everyone is selling, there's no opportunity to make money. In order for the sellers to make money, they need people who are willing to buy. And that's the reason why you can see we've definitely incited very many people to look for buying opportunities. Even if you compare how long it took for the sellers to come down and how long it has taken for the buyers to come up, has been very long. So right now, most people are forgetting about the sell. And once that happens, you could easily find the price coming down lower. Especially look at the way the buyers have started slowing down within this particular area. So it'll be very interesting to see what ends up happening within this location. So if we do end up getting some sort of probe or price action signal, we could end up finding a very nice selling opportunity within this area right here. Ideally, make sure you manage your trade within this fast problem area, because the fact that we do have, or at least we have a major scenario here, we could end up finding the price reacting within that location. Remember, if the price breaks this area to the upside and holds above, then at that point in time, we should be able to look for buying opportunities on the NAS 100. So hope that's clear as we move on to the next index that we do have, which is the Dow Jones. Now, the Dow Jones yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. It is still today. Unfortunately, we did not necessarily get that pullback that we had wanted to see. Seems at 11 o'clock, the price was happy with the price that was already at. And you can see the price didn't manage to break this area to the downside. Similar situation, it attempted to give us a pullback, showing us confirmation that it was holding below, and it did manage to continue coming down lower. Now, today, the bias here is going to still be looking for selling opportunities. So we've adjusted the level slightly. So we'll be focusing on sells as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. As long as we're holding below this area, our bias is to look for selling opportunities. If we do get the price breaching and holding above this red SNR, then at that point in time, we will actually start looking for buying opportunities in this. But for now, let's wait to see how this pullback comes in, whether or not we'll get some sort of probe or price action signal, inciting a few more people to look for the buys before we're able to jump in on selling opportunities. Remember, make sure to manage your trade within the fast problem area. We are able to get the price breaching and holding below. That's when we should be able to target the next low. So that's pretty clear cut, at least on the Dow Jones, as we move on to the precious metals, current favorites of most people. So right here, we have silver. Now, on silver yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. So you can see initially, as we were discussing this price early in the morning, the price was within this seller's area. So we did get a small pullback that did come in, and at 11, the price attempted to go up, but we could not end up reaching and holding above this area. You can see those sellers still held the market, and at 4 o'clock, price within a seller's area, that's when we actually started getting the pullback coming in. Came down within this area, it was quite close to it at around 5:30, but it seems that we did not get all the way there. The buyers weren't able to even really take this price up higher. But you can see right now, we've actually approached the same SNR that we were watching out for yesterday. So we'll still be looking for buying opportunities. Let's wait to see what ends up happening within this area, whether or not the same illustration that we ended up pointing out yesterday is getting some sort of probe or price action signal. Definitely, we will be looking for buying opportunities there. But remember, we'll be looking for buys as long as we're holding above this red support and resistance area. If the price breaches and holds below this red SNR, at that point in time, we will start looking for selling opportunities. But for now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. If this SNR doesn't hold and the price comes below, then we will be looking to see if we can grab our buying opportunity all the way down within this main bias area. So let's see what happens on silver as we move on to gold. Now, on gold, yesterday, our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. It's still going to be the same situation today, still looking for buys. Can see the illustration that we had pointed out yesterday. We needed one of two things with the price within a seller's area, either a pullback coming into the SNR or a breach to the upside. So you can see yesterday, we did get the price breaching this area to the upside, which was good. And you can see the price did end up giving us a pullback, even though the price at the top area right here was at 4 o'clock. Now, we did end up getting a pullback during the US market open, and at 5:30 during the New York Stock Exchange open, the price was holding within this area, even though it did end up starting to move just before 8 o'clock. So not necessarily too sure what exactly happened then, but you can see the price still ended up holding above there and managing to go all the way to the top. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So we've adjusted the level slightly. We have the seller's area right there. You can see the fact that they're really coming to the downside. Most of these times, or the reason why you end up finding such a reaction is mainly because of the probe. And that's why we always point out probes end up giving some very nice opportunities. You can see the price looked as if it was breaking this area to the upside. It came straight back in, and on the pullback, you can see what kind of reaction we start getting. So that confirmed that this level is still holding. So for right now, let's wait to see whether or not we can end up getting this pullback coming in, potentially within this first support and resistance area. So let's see what kind of reaction we have get within this location. We don't see any reaction within here. Remember, we'll still be looking for buying opportunities as long as we're holding above the red SNR, but also just take note of other buyers areas. You can see this is an area where buyers reacted from before. Maybe it might not necessarily react from here. You might find it spiking within this location before you do end up seeing some sort of reaction. So do take note of that on gold. So that's pretty much it for me, from us. Here is the watch list. Remember, we do have another 15 minutes to see what's actually going to happen on the charts. Now, apologies, it seems that the government here in Kenya has blocked Telegram. So it's very difficult to actually update you unless maybe you have a VPN or you're using possibly Wi-Fi. I think if you're using any mobile networks, I don't think you will end up getting the messages. But we will end up trying to inform, at least updating you guys on the Telegram channel, and we'll look for any other way that we can actually end up posting it, possibly on our Instagram as well. So check out for our Instagram stories. You can find us at Afriforex on Instagram, and yeah, you should end up getting an update there. So I guess that's it from me and from us. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I know taking your time out of the day to actually join us, we do appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. So thank you guys so much. And remember, if you do end up liking this content, feel free to give us a like, subscribe if you have not. It really does end up helping out our channel, at least for us to get to reach to more people. So once again, thank you guys so much. Have an amazing trading day. God bless. Happy trading, and bye for now. Cheers, guys.